subcommittee for the opportunity to testify today. My name is Bill Chameides. I am the Dean of the Nicholas School of the Environment and a member of the U.S. National Academy of Sciences. I am an atmospheric scientist who is focused principally on the chemistry of the lower atmosphere, trying to understand the causes of environmental change and identify pathways towards a more sustainable future. My main message today is the risks posed by human-caused climate change are significant and warrant timely action to minimize these risks. Yes, there are uncertainties, but these uncertainties do not justify inaction. What they do suggest is that our response should be a flexible one that allows for course corrections as new information and knowledge comes available. Much of what we know about the climate is the product of more than 100 years of research founded on the most basic laws of science and grounded by ever-improving observations of the climate system. Thermometer measurements show that the Earth's average surface temperature has risen substantially over the past century. Much has been made of the so-called recent pause or hiatus in global warming, but we should keep the following context in mind. Present-day temperatures are anomalously high. The last decade was the warmest on record. 9 of the 10 warmest years on record occurred since 2001, and 2010 and 2005 were the warmest and second warmest years on record, respectively. Significantly, the frequency of extremely hot summer days has increased by more than a factor of 10 globally. The climate in the United States has become more variable and extreme. Over the past 50 years, we have seen an increase in prolonged stretches of excessively high temperatures, more heavy downpours, and in some regions, more severe droughts. The preponderance of evidence suggests that most of the recent decadal-scale warming can be attributed to fossil fuel burning and other human activities that release carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. I have noted that Dr. Curry in her written testimony states that a 2012 paper by Tung and Zhao suggests that the anthropogenic global warming trends might have been overestimated by a factor of 2 in the second half of the 20th century. Now, Dr. Curry has been a colleague of mine for many years. I respect her as a scientist. In fact, I enthusiastically helped recruit her to her present position at Georgia Tech. But I find some of her statements to be problematic, and this is one of them. In the case of the Tung and Zhao paper, it is germane and important to also note that one of the implications of their result is that virtually all of the net warming over the past 100 years can be attributed to human activities. Human-caused climate changes and impacts will continue for many decades, even centuries. However, the precise nature of these impacts cannot be predicted with great certainty. But we do know that the risks are considerable. And we haven't discussed at all the problem of ocean acidification from CO2, which is a virtual certainty. So how should we, as a nation, respond? There is, of course, room for debate about what climate policies should be implemented, but uncertainty is not a reason for inaction. We as individuals and as a society often act in the face of uncertainty. I, for example, cannot predict if, let alone when, there will be a fire in my house, but I pay for fire insurance. Similarly, in the face of uncertain but substantial risk from climate change, it is prudent to develop and implement a risk-based, flexible response to the climate change challenge. Such a response should have the following elements: reducing greenhouse gas emissions, mobilizing for adaptation, investing in science, technology, and information systems, participating in international climate change efforts, and coordinating a national response. Let me highlight a few of these, and more details are in my written testimony. The nation will need to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. The magnitude and speed of emissions reductions depends, of course, on societal judgments about how much risk is acceptable and what cost. However, given the long lifetime associated with infrastructure for energy production and the potential for irreversible climate change, the most effective strategy is to begin ramping down emissions as soon as possible. Because we cannot predict the exact path climate change will take, we cannot prescribe a set of climate policies today that we know will be optimum for decades to come. And so we need an iterative risk management approach that systematically and continuously identifies risks, advances a portfolio of actions that reduce risks, and revises responses in light of new knowledge. And it is my impression that on this issue, Dr. Curry and I are in agreement. America has choices to make about climate change, choices that we must face in the face of uncertainty, but also risks that are growing with every new ton of greenhouse gases we emit. We cannot avoid these choices. Bear in mind that making a choice to do nothing is, in fact, a choice. It's a choice that our children and their children after them will face increased risks from human-induced climate change. Thank you very much.